We're into game number 2 of this best of 5, ladies and gentlemen. We are on Dusk Towers, and spawning in the bottom position is the Red Terran player, currently 1-0 up. It's Happy. Executing his final attack brilliantly against an opponent whom he trailed in supply for a lot of game number 1. Representing Millennium in the top position, looking to bounce back from that loss and bring the series back to even Stevens. It's Daishi. So a very dynamic TVT, even though we had mirror builds in game number 1. It looks like we're basically going to be having mirror builds in game 2 as well. But we had a lot of action with the couple of Reapers early on in the game. We had a lot of action with drops, especially from Daishi. And that's primarily where he started getting his advantage in supply. But then Happy making some excellent strategic decisions with how much of his army to leave at home, where to place his army, and when, towards the end of the game, meant that Daishi's attack ran up against a brick wall. But Happy's attack, unfortunately, succeeded as a result for him. So Happy, very happily, goes up 1-0 in this best of 5 series, and there is a second barracks, and it is out in the middle of the map. So as far as mirror is concerned, it's definitely not mirror enough. Happy trying to block an add-on on this barracks right now. But Daishi with an SCV will be able to stop any of those kind of shenanigans from occurring. This barracks is about to complete next to what looks like the scariest gateway ever. That actually reminds me a little bit of the villain from the Lego movie. Anyone? Answers on a postcard. Right, so second barracks complete from Daishi. We're going to be seeing a lot more Reapers, and Happy may or may not be expecting this, but he's actually building a bunker. He smells a rat. He's waiting. He sees a single Reaper, but he hasn't seen a command center, and he's thinking, hang on a second, if you're just one Rax Reaper, you should already have the command center down by now. I think something funky is going on here, and as a result, he is going ahead and building a bunker. Really sick star sense, actually, coming out of Happy there. Double Reaper coming in, and this bunker is going to finish in time to absolutely stop these Reapers from doing anything useful. Ooh, almost losing one of those Reapers outright in the beginning, and even having a second bunker here to make sure nothing untoward happens. Very, very nicely played there by Happy, smelling that something is going on and successfully defending against the early attack. So Daishi is going to be falling back now, and he's got his factory on the go. In the meantime, this factory is already complete here for Happy. Of course, he didn't have that second barracks. He didn't have that second Reaper that would cost him a bit of gas. So he's being a little bit cautious at the moment. He has actually put units in this bunker. And there are 4 Reapers coming up here right now. Is he deciding to head back down? He is indeed. Just the 1 Marine in each one, making it life a little bit difficult for Daishi. He's going to have to work out exactly how many units are coming in to kill him and how quickly his Reapers are dying, but a single SCV should be able to repair all the damage done here in no time, and Daishi just is unable to get any purchase out of this, and as a result he's just going to move the barracks back home. He's going to try and play into effectively a macro style and acknowledge that his early attack didn't work, and he instead is going to be going for his third CC. Now Happy has an opportunity here, instead of going for a third CC, potentially to go for a big push if he really wanted to. But I feel like if he was going to do that, he would have decided to do that a little while ago, because he hasn't actually put any additional barracks down or stuff like that. And that's why the third CC for Happy is now starting, although significantly later than that of Daishi. Of course, having the larger army or having the more threatening army early on at least allows you to get an earlier extra base up behind it. Just make sure you don't lose those units, otherwise counterattacks could destroy you. But Daishi at the moment not losing any of those, just playing it cool, calm, and collected at the bottom of the ramp. Very chill out. He's even getting stim behind this as well. And we have a Liberator sneaking out of the main base from Happy to try and get some explosive damage done here. But look at this, a Cyclone already prepared from Daishi to stop this dead in its tracks. I really, really like that from him. So Daishi already anticipating, like, how many different ways can we actually see Happy break out of this? Oh wait, Liberator's probably one of them. Here comes the Liberator. Oh, sees the Cyclone, and there goes the Liberator. Thank you very much. And that Cyclone has already done its job. Now, units moving out on the bottom here. It looks like, unfortunately, Daishi was napping. Happy doing a good job of surrounding as many of those Reapers as he could, and all but one of them are going to die. Cyclone's still here, of course, and the Liberator very far away, but unable to do anything at the moment. And we've got the third base now down for Daishi. So despite being the aggressor and despite his attacks not working, behind this, Daishi has basically snuck in a little bit more as far as macro is concerned. He's ahead by a single worker, 42 to 41, not huge, but his third base is going to be mining significantly faster. So we'll see what the players want to do moving into the mid-game here. It looks like engineering bays have just gone down for both players. We've got the double coming in here from Daishi. And just the single from Happy, but it does mean that he has an earlier +1 attack on the way. In fact, it's about a third of the way, and we haven't even seen the upgrade start for Daishi yet. So there is the potential here for these upgrades to maybe give Happy a very slim sort of timing, because we have genuinely got one at the same time this game for Daishi now. So I'll give him about half an upgrade's worth of breathing room, where if he wanted to try and do something with +1 he could. Whether or not he chooses to do so is quite another story though, but he has got medevacs out. He can siege up the tanks and lift them up into the medevacs, so there's plenty of potential for this to happen. And it also lines up quite nicely with combat shields, but admittedly not with stim, so that alone makes me think Happy's not going to be trying for that sort of thing here, actually. Missile turrets going up just for due diligence purposes, and a couple of Liberators will be heading back home, a little bit bruised, and unfortunately both with 0 kills here from Happy's point of view. The defense of Daishi, just too thorough for the Liberators to be able to sneak in any sort of damage. We have the armory coming in from Daishi as well, so while those upgrades are slightly later, he will be able to launch straight into 2-2 and leapfrog his opponent, and that's undoubtedly the plan here. We have a sensor tower, interestingly, that will give him a little bit of advance warning of any attacks coming in from the left-hand side, but primarily to make sure he's not getting sieged up or counter-attacked in the center, I suspect. These medevacs holding these siege tanks are now prepared to fly out potentially across the map. Oh, he won't have to do that, though, because this Hellion certainly sees an awful lot that's popping by. Here comes a siege tank. There goes a siege tank. Wow, he actually survives with the Hellion as well. I'm impressed. I'm pretty sure he manages to spot the bottom side of that as well. And do we have a couple of medevacs here? We do indeed. So they're going to be boosting in. I love how he led with the Viking, by the way, because they managed to tank the shots from the missile turrets. So smart. One of the medevacs goes down straight away, and these Marines, helped by these SCVs, are ever so slowly going to try and take this out. The SCVs, though, they're basically being led to their slaughter, and so many of them got targeted down. 19 workers killed versus 1, and that wasn't a good defense from Happy. Even though he was able to take that drop out, he basically fed the SCVs to Daishi there, so that was a little bit painful. And Daishi is making it clear that Happy cannot pop out with any counterattack right now. He's saying, well, actually, these little dots say that you're not able to go anywhere. And yeah, I guess you can drop a single Marine there. Why not? Continuously do just a little bit of harassment. Now, what have we got up here? Looks like it's just the 2 siege tanks at the moment, but a Liberator is helpfully keeping tabs on the situation. There's a lot of army from Daishi here, and I wonder if he grabs a couple more medevacs, if he can just launch in and possibly drop in between these 2 siege tanks. But actually, with siege tanks number 3 and 4 here, that wouldn't be possible anymore. This could be a scary position to drop your army, for example, if there were only 2 tanks there. We have a scan from Happy just to see exactly what Daishi's got, and he will successfully see that this isn't exactly a force to be messed with. So both sides are okay with the standoff at the moment. Now remember, this isn't a particularly hard contained because these siege tanks can be lifted up by the medevacs at any time, and I'm actually a little bit worried about Daishi lifting up these siege tanks and maybe plonking them up here. If he plonks them up here, that makes it very difficult for Happy to deal with that any sort of attack. We have a triple drop with 2 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines getting cleaned up in the natural expansion on behalf of Daishi. Number of workers killed 19 to 7 so far this game, and Daishi is still leading 65 to 57 in the worker count. So Happy at least able to preserve all of his gas-intensive units, but not that much. He's got a quad drop, though, moving out over here, and that could end up being pretty sick. Daishi, I think, might have smelled it coming. So he's moving up here. Is he going to intercept it, though? I don't know. Oh, God! He didn't have stim at the time. If those units were already stimmed, then I guarantee this medevac is dead. Oh dear, don't do that. And a medevac goes down for free. An entire medevac worth of Marines is gone for free. That is unfortunate. That medevac shouldn't have been in the lead. And now we at least have this triple drop coming in towards this command center. But it obviously cost him a reasonable amount to get those units there. That 25% Marine tax, as you do. Ooh, that command center is actually really close to going down. Oh my goodness, it goes down. Daishi, a little bit careless there. And now he's moving back with his whole army. He's realizing that this could end up being a big problem. I think there should be enough Marines here with the siege tank to comfortably kill this off. But dear, oh dear, Daishi should not have lost that at all. And now, these 3 Marines from Happy that he thoughtfully left behind is going to conveniently pick off a couple more workers. And unfortunately, well, yeah, exactly, you don't really want to be messing around building that orbital until you're sure those Marines are cleaned up. But Daishi manages to do so, and we have got this orbital here flying from the main base into the 4th position. Another massive drop from Happy, basically choosing to go around this embargo that Daishi is quite clearly set up here. And oh, and again, Daishi spots the drop. Daishi's so sick. Seeing everything that Happy's chucking at him at the moment. Very, very nice indeed. Happy, in the meantime, has a command center that he's looking to plant around here, but he kind of needs to do that after this army's out of the way. Otherwise, it's too easy and too mobile for Daishi to be able to attack that. So these units, well, the Marines are no longer in the dropships. It's only the siege tanks. And Happy can't quite find a way in through the front door simply because these tanks are sieged up and ready to rumble already. And I love that Daishi just keeps sending individual units up, ready and waiting to see exactly where Happy is. Oh, these Marines there, well, they've got a death wish. Just, wow, managing to pick off a medevac there, very nicely done. But I was about to say, you can drop a single siege tank, and I think one shot would have killed all of those Marines there. So you do have to be a little careful. So Daishi at the moment, he's maxed out. I mean, both sides are maxed out at the moment. Daishi has a little bit of a better bank. Both sides are at 2-2. 3-3 on the way for Daishi. Only +3 attack on the way for Happy right now. And Daishi still with this quote-unquote soft contain on 3 bases. A Liberator for Happy, being very adventurous, moving out into the middle there. Needs to be careful. And he's setting himself up to kill off a couple of those siege tanks. He will do this. We've got a couple of Marines that will venture into the line of fire to pick off that Liberator. And this drop for Happy, that drop for Happy could end up being absolutely pivotal here. Daishi is playing this very well. He's been anticipating his opponent really well too. Oh, and these two Vikings for Happy are going to allow him to win the air battle over this. And this drop potentially could allow him to win an awful lot more than that. We have siege tanks and Marines going into the main base now, and they are definitely cementing a position. There go 2 Vikings as well. A scan to check out where the siege tanks are on the low ground, and, well, Happy basically says, yep, fine, that's not a problem. I'm just going to move away from the siege tanks. What are you going to say about that? He's camping production structures. There goes the starport. There goes a whole bunch of the barracks. And what on earth does Daishi do? It looks like the answer is drop back on top of where Happy actually went just now. But so much of this has been cleaned out right now. Really, really sucks at the moment to be in Daishi's position, because he needs to get rid of this before he can think about bolstering this incredible offensive line. Happy's looking for ways to get through that at the moment, but while he's doing this, he is going to be able to kill off so much. Oh, needs to make sure he doesn't walk straight in to all of those siege tanks, but he isn't, and this is such a strong position for him to be in. Daishi needs to get rid of these tanks. He needs to get rid of them right the heck now. Instead, he's well, he's dropping on the low ground, not quite within range of the tanks, but I mean, Happy's micro has just been fantastic with these medevacs. And while these tanks have been in range of the Marines, they haven't been in range of the other siege tanks, and this base is going to go down as well. I feel like Daishi's in an awful lot of trouble now, and Happy is a prime candidate as things currently stand to go 2-0 up. Great micro, dropping the tanks back, forcing these Marines back as well. And dare I say, Happy might even be able to pick up and leave with his entire army right now. Daishi is waiting to see where he'll be able to go and make a break into here. Both sides have their Marines going up against each other now, and we have the siege tanks being picked up. The medevac get boosted out, and look at this. Every single medevac survives, at least for now. Ooh, needs to be careful with that missile turret, but Daishi unable to make it stick. That base is gone, that base is gone, and Happy at the moment over here is saying sayonara. He might as well rush past. I don't think there are any Marines in this position. He's going to be watching it like a hawk and going, okay, I'm in the clear. And now he's just going to be moving back to main. Fantastic job there by Happy. And as a result, he now enjoys a 200 to 150 supply over Millennium's Daishi. His upgrades are technically behind, but they're only behind for... Oh, I was about to say they're only behind for another 5 seconds, but +3 armor has already completed for him. So that's going to be that. So Daishi no longer enjoys an upgrade advantage, and he's had 2 of his bases completely destroyed. He is, though, going mass orbital, so he's not going to be in desperate need of extra SCVs. He's just going to try and replace as much of his economy as possible with mules directly, and that's completely fine. He's going to have to float some of these orbitals, perhaps, to these kind of locations, or maybe somewhere in the bottom right as well, if he wants to make that work in the longer term. Another massive drop from Happy, and that planetary fortress is potentially in danger. That's spotted by Daishi at the last second. But what's he going to be able to do with all of these siege tanks? He's hammering away now at the orbitals. Where is the rest of the army for Daishi? It's not here. In fact, it's all the way over here, and he's going to have to come back and defend, because if he loses this, he loses absolutely everything. 1 orbital down. Siege tank defending the Plief down. 2 orbitals going to go down soon. Here comes Daishi with tanks on the low ground. Happy, fantastic with his micro, spotting with the medevac from up above. The planetary fortress is now under siege. All of the orbital commands in this position have gone, and every time Daishi leaps forward with his siege tanks, Happy picks his up, and Daishi is just not able to get the engagement he wants. Happy is being so patient here, but he's not giving any room to Daishi whatsoever. He's saying, okay, you want to drop there, that's fine, I'm just going to move out of range. I've killed off a bunch of orbitals, what is your next move? Happy playing this so smart. Scans going down for both players, and this is going to be awkward. We're going to have siege tank bingo almost in a minute. But Daishi right now fighting for his life. Man, can you imagine a Banshee over here right now? I mean, you kill off those Marines and then you're home free. You need to be a little bit careful, but you can kind of have one there. Sneak behind here, the sensor tower, and sort of mess around as much as you can. Ideally, while the armies engage each other. Force your opponent to multitask. Is Happy thinking about maybe coming in here? Surely not. He doesn't have to take that fight right now. So both sides confined to a small section of the map. Happy effectively on 3 base, Daishi effectively on 3 base, but Daishi's bases are a bit fresher because he's got that position and he's got that position. Happy is stuck on his original 3 bases and needs to do something about it. PDQ. Mortal Kombat! Liu Kang wins. Not a flawless victory, but you know, it'll have to do. And these armies are now facing off towards where the planetary fortress is. It looks like a factory is going to go down for Daishi, but maybe not much else at the moment. Lifting those siege tanks back, looking for positions where they can attack. And this tank's actually going down for Daishi right now. Ooh, dropping those tanks in the line of fire. I don't think I like that one bit. I really don't think I like that one bit. Oh, wow. Good, there we go. Managing to kill off that tank. What is the siege tank count looking like? It's 19 to 17 in favor of Daishi, but so many of Daishi's tanks are tied up here that this battle is looking like it's being won by Happy. Let me see. There are still 6 tanks technically near this planetary fortress, but it's being constantly sieged up right now, and it's within range of hitting a lot of the SCVs, and for that reason I think this is getting more and more difficult for Daishi by the minute. Daishi trying to do, well, potentially some sort of a disaster relief work here. He's thinking about trying to end the siege, and he has to do it quickly as well because the planetary fortress is about to go down. There's the stim in from Daishi. He's trying to engage. A lot of units are popping in. There's so much siege tank fire on both sides. The Marines are melting, but Daishi is looking like he's able to break through here, and on the cusp of potential defeat there at that choke point. Daishi pushes Happy back, And he's at 156 to 117 supply. So Daishi is basically surviving longer on fresher bases. So even though Happy made that tremendous drop that killed off both of these bases, Daishi is looking like he might be able to come back in this game. Both players are on 3 bases, but look at what's at that base, look at what's at that base, and look at what's at that base. Daishi, on the other hand, has that. He has that. Admittedly, that got blown to smithereens, and so did that. But what he has left is very, very valuable. Happy has to win with this army, or he's dead. I think it's that simple at this point. It's 171 to 114 supply. So, oh, and it looks like Marines are successfully able to outrun jet aircraft. And we'll be able to pick off that Viking. Happy is under a lot of pressure right now, because Daishi can sit back and do nothing effectively. Happy is not mining. He is straight up not mining. And here we go. This is a lot of siege tank on siege tank action. The first 2 tanks go down very quickly for Happy, actually. Daishi getting his tanks into a fantastic position behind. He's coming in from both angles now, and this looks like it might end up being it. Happy's getting a really, really good engagement, but he's losing army that he cannot afford to replace right now. It's 109 to 81 supply. Happy could still do it, but he could still do it provided he gets like an extra 30 supply worth of kills. The siege tanks constantly being dropped on top of each other now. Oh, and it looks like all but one of these tanks goes down for Daishi. Happy is having the micro engagement of his life right now, but these 2 Vikings are the bane of his life. Here come the SCVs in for Daishi. Is Happy going to be able to... He's down to 54 supply. He's doing so well with this army, but can he realistically win with this army, what he has left here? Daishi's thinking about going in with SCVs, with the Marines. Is he going to be dropping siege tanks with those medevacs, or he's just going to bum rush with everything? I don't know. But Happy is absolutely struggling to make this work. He's got another base set up with 4 mules, so he can begin to rebuild. Is Happy is he really going to come back from the jaws of defeat here? This is incredible if he does. It's 50 supply versus 95, 99 even. That Viking that was the MVP for so long actually gets taken out right now. And these Marines, well, they're slowly getting picked off. A couple of siege tanks will see to that. 98 versus 44 supply. Happy now mining from this sneaky base up here. He hasn't been mining for so long. And wow, well, 1 tank versus lol amounts of tank says that Happy will be able to defend against this aggression. And now what has Daishi got? He's got 700 gold, and I'll tell you what, gold? 700 minerals, and that's an awful lot more than Happy does right now. But is it enough to convert? 5 more barracks coming down on the right-hand side position here, and Daishi... If Daishi shuts down this base, it's basically over. Daishi doesn't know that base exists right now, guys. That's really, really important. Alright, 4 tanks versus, well, none on this side of the command center, but plenty on the other side right now. So if he gets these tanks in range of the orbital, that could be really tricky. He's thinking about it. He's picking up these tanks. He's going to get them ever so slightly closer, and they get dropped. Marines coming in. The tanks do get protected, though, and the orbital is being shelled, but that is not the only base. It gets lifted up. It's on 100 health. It's going to have to get mass repaired. It needs to stop burning. And it hasn't stopped burning, actually, so, but it is being repaired by an SCV and a mule underneath, so that's probably okay. Daishi now pushing into what he probably thinks is the last base, but this is continuing to be super sneaky for Happy, rebuilding SCVs over here. He's at 35 supply to 108. Can he honestly hold on much longer? I feel... Oh, Daishi is missing a trick. He's sending a medevac. Okay. This could be the nail in the coffin. He spots that. Now Daishi needs to just go and stop this right now. Dropping mules to repair these siege tanks. That's actually a really good investment, because as things currently stand, 1 lot of siege tank volleys can pick off all 4 of these tanks in the back, so I really like that. We have a small drop over here, but a small drop is actually doing an incredible amount of damage. These Vikings successfully pick off both medevacs, but these Marines are now being left unchecked. Daishi is down to 19 workers right now. What is going on? The Vikings are landing. These siege tanks are trying to kill off these Marines. Okay, he actually brings them into a siege tank, so that will successfully take that out. And a single tank here will successfully disrupt all of the remaining mining from Happy on this map. Happy is down to 19 supply versus 96. There we go, GG, and what a hard-fought victory there as Millennium's Daishi takes game number 2 to even up the scoreline 1-all.